Hello, parents. This is Dr. Nick Fanning with the Super Parent Syndrome, where we help parents parent themselves. Man, I could use some parenting for myself, and that's why I do this podcast. I am just full disclosure, folks. Do not have it completely figured out. I have learned a few things, and I just want to share those. So let's get started.
Parenting in the 21st century is ever evolving, and while you balance work, kids, and your sanity, it's easy to feel discouraged. Welcome to the Super Parent Syndrome with your host, Dr. Nick Fanning.
Yes, I got to remind you that you can, and it feels freaking amazing to win. So here's the thing. To get somebody to really change their lives when I'm working with them, there's lots of different approaches. I mean, you know, the information out there, the advice out there you hear often is like, remember your why. You know, if you're going strong and you mess up, you know, the best thing to do is just remember your why, and you're going to get right back to it. And I can tell you this, if you know a why, you're going to figure out the how. But very often people will even struggle with identifying what that core why is. And until you really work with somebody on one-on-one and they're just constantly asking you, why are you doing this? Well, why are you doing that? Why do you want to make a lot of money? Well, why do you want to do that? It usually comes down to hey, I just want to finally impress or get the approval of my parents, or all sorts of different things come up. But here's the thing. That advice looks freaking fantastic on your Facebook page. It sounds amazing on a bumper sticker, and it even sounds great on this podcast, okay? But it's not real. Okay, so here's the thing. The best way to get somebody to really change is, one, just to remind them what a badass they are, okay? That they can win and that they're supposed to win. And sometimes it starts with just an amazing pep talk speech, and people get all inspired and they get all jazzed up, and then they push for something and push for some success in their life. And it works. It really does. It works. Short term, it really works. And they might get one win in, and they might get two wins in, and then they start getting a little bit of momentum going. And yes, inevitably, a torpedo or some sort of roadblock is going to get in their way, and they just lose it all. Okay, so here's the thing. The best way to really get somebody to change their life is just focusing on changing inside out. It means like this, is yes, that first initial win got you started, but you got to be okay, what can I do to get that win again? So for example, like this, I have somebody who's I'm going to go do P90X for the next 90 days, and I'm going to go all out. And I was like, that is amazing, man. And I can tell you this is, if you don't mind, can I give you a little advice? And they're like, well, yeah, absolutely. And I was like, no matter what, do 20 minutes or do 10 minutes, no matter what. And they're like, yeah, okay. What do you mean? I'm just going to do the workout. I was like, that's great. But sometimes when you have just a crap day, you don't want to spend an hour, 15 minutes, or man, on yoga days, an hour and a half, just well, I got to do the grind and it's 11 o'clock at night and I still promised I worked out. You know, you're not going to do that when things suck. But if you can do 10 minutes and you do 10 minutes and you might be grumpy that entire 10 minutes, you're like, well, I don't want to freaking do this. And you're punching the air, doing your Kempo and doing downward dog again. You hate it. But 10 minutes go by and you set that timer and it goes off. You have that choice of, hey, this is still a win, or do I keep going? You know? And either way, you were better off than what you had done because you got the 10 minutes done. There's like that for every single thing that we have in our lives, folks. Okay? And, big or small, I can tell you this, is that, in one of the coaching companies I help out with, it's called Wake Up Cairo. Troy Dukowitz is the main guy there, and he says there are no small victories. There's only victories. And I have to really just love the energy and tension of that, because so often we try to downplay our victories. Because here's the thing. You might start off with this great goal out, and 30 days later, you may have achieved that goal. Now, during that 30 days, you transformed into a better version of yourself. So much so that at the end of that 30 days, when you actually accomplish it, you look back and you're like, man, that wasn't such a big deal. And we downplay our freaking victory. We do. It's it wasn't a big deal. I mean, I literally did this when I graduated college, when I graduated chiropractic school. Now, in the grind, it stunk. But afterwards, I was a whole different person. And looking back, I was like, nah, it's okay. It was no big deal. But it was. And we do that in the short term as well. So here's the thing. Even though you're trying to remind yourself that you can win and you get into that momentum of winning, you have to realize that you're constantly changing along with it. And that's why you got to stick to the plan that you laid out. Meaning, here's my challenge, here's my reward. Here's my challenge, here's my reward. Here's my challenge, here's my reward. So you never downplay that victory. And not only do you remind yourself that you can win, it becomes more addicting, it becomes more momentum, and you start winning bigger and bigger. Now, one of the big people that you can look up here is Marcus Aubrey. He is the owner of Onnit, and he also had this amazing book called Own the Day, okay? And he basically, in one section, he talks about just winning one day. And if you can win one day, really, honestly, just theoretically, all you have to do is just repeat that over and over again. now, some of you are like, oh, great advice, Nick, okay? But at the same time, if you can literally win one day and you just repeat that, you can change your life. I mean, it really comes down to really being that simple, meaning you can quit smoking for one day. And if you can quit smoking for one day, then what's two? Don't worry about tomorrow. Worry about today. You can quit porn for one day. Don't worry about tomorrow. Just focus on today. Save $5 and put it in your savings account. Don't eat fast food or processed food for one whole day. Work out once. Don't worry about tomorrow's workout. Just work out today. And if you can do that and just worry about today making that tough phone call to your mom or dad or loved one that you haven't met, even contacted in a long while. Don't worry about tomorrow or the next day or worrying about having to have Christmas with them or whatever it might be. Just worry about today. And it's anything you set your mind on. You can literally pick the one thing that you know you've been avoiding or that you know that you need to do and just do it once. Because we all know what that is. I can literally, in a big coliseum of people, stand on stage and say, all right, what's one thing you know that you need to do to improve your life? Does everybody have one? Raise your hand if you have one thing that you know you need to do. All right, just go do that one thing and just leave. And if people did that one thing, their lives would improve. We all have that. Ha, 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 ha. I understand. Right? But at the same time, we all have that. The big reason is, why haven't we done that? And sometimes it's because we're so worried about step 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 30 that we forget about, what if we just take step 1? And if you can win that one day, imagine what life could be in 30 days, 90 days, a year. And that is the magic of the 1% Club. And I hope you check us out on Pep Talk for Parents. 1% Club, free newsletter, comes to your mailbox every single day. Head over there now, sign up. Until next time, folks, have an amazing super parent kind of day.
Thanks for listening to another episode of The Super Parent Syndrome. Please be sure to visit peptalksforparents.com for more content and our free newsletter. And remember, you are not alone.